Hey guys, Ryan Fowler here with Inner Masculine Live. Welcome to the show. We have a very dense show for you today. Dense meaning there is a ton of content today that we're going to go over. So I didn't have a show on Tuesday because Monday night I did probably 5-6 hour webinar for the Masculine Empowerment Network. I do another one this Monday. So for those of you in the Masculine Empowerment Network, hope you tune in this Monday night for that. That's part of John Modern Life Dating's Men's Empowerment Network, his paid content. I'm going to give you a little tiny sample of that today. And the concepts here might be just, in a way, they're not hard to grasp. In a way, you got to kind of really be paying attention. I'm going to show you a common thread that applies to the human psyche that is the big difference between being in scarcity and survival mode and kicking ass. Abundance mindset, moving forward, getting stuff done. There's a common thread. There are common themes that I go through over and over again on this show. One of the big ones is, toxic shame versus unconditional self-love, belief in your ability and value. Those are two opposites. Avoiding pain, pursuing pleasure. Those are two opposites. And these concepts are just so foundational to how our mind works, how our subconscious mind works, how our conscious mind works, what our behaviors are, whether you're going to stay small and poor and miserable and depressed and not getting what you want, or whether you're going to move forward and live the life you want. I have a testimonial as well to read. There is, I see EC Smooths on here. Hi, EC. Hi, Tim Costello. Good friend Tim. Thanks for coming on the show. EC, we're going to do a testimonial with him at some point. Very busy guy, but, he said he's willing to do a testimonial. He did a couple sessions with me, changed his life. I do it all the time. I got a lot of testimonials on my YouTube channel already, client interviews showing that this stuff is super powerful. It's only a matter of time before this gets really big, guys, because I'm getting results. And it's not like me or my superpowers or anything. Tim Costello is using some of my techniques. He's getting massive results. Jordan Kurtz, the guys that you see on the Saturday show, they're using hypnosis along with a lot of the techniques I use, and they're getting big results. So this is, I guess, we're at the forefront of the next wave of, I don't know what you want to call it, self-belief technology. I call it the subconscious optimization system. We get your subconscious core really where it should be. And then people are just taking off. People are taking off. And without even meaning to, my income doubled within 2 years of starting self-hypnosis and getting my inner world right. And my depression was gone within chronic depression, struggled with my whole life, 100 sessions over 15 years, gone in 2 months. Then got rid of all my anxiety, then insecurities with dating and women, just replaced it with self-belief and doubled my income, doubled it again. Now I'm living my dream life. I'm in Mexico City, living the life I want. I'm producing 3 digital products right now, partnered with multimillionaires on each of them because they believe in it. And it's just a matter of time before this gets big. But you got to start somewhere. And we're starting here. I started my YouTube show, March? So 3 months ago. But it's growing. It's all good. This is nuclear powered stuff I'm going to show you. I got a Tony Robbins clip. I have Dan Pena clip, Leila Hormozi, Tom Bilyeu. I have one PowerPoint slide I'm going to show you. And if you saw these individually on your own, you may not connect the common thread between all of them. But there is a very important, very powerful common thread between all these video clips I'm going to show you today. And I'm going to point that out. And this is such an important core concept. You get this concept down and you internalize it. Hypnosis, number one way to do that. Get bad stuff out, get bad beliefs out, put good beliefs in your core. You do that, it changes everything. And I'm going to show you the core of what that is today. So before we get started on that, notice innermasculine.com/free-ebook. You can go to my website, innermasculine.com, get a free ebook on how your subconscious mind works and why it keeps you stuck. Everyone's heard of our subconscious mind. Most people know that most of our behavior, 95%, is directed by our subconscious mind. This explains to you what is actually going on. This is understanding your subconscious, probably the most important thing you can understand if you want to get unstuck and have a good, successful, happy life. Some people are fortunate enough to be born into relatively emotionally healthy families and have a good subconscious. And they're just kicking ass, and they don't understand how the subconscious mind works. They just were fortunate enough to be raised in a good family that helped them build good subconscious belief systems, and then they're just doing great. And then a lot of people struggle. A lot of people procrastinating, anxiety, depression, feeling disconnected, feeling, not believing in their ability and value, not believing they're worth much. And these people can struggle their whole lives until they fix their subconscious, and most never do. This is so core. So I'm going to show you some of this core stuff. But if you want to understand the blueprint, the foundational knowledge of how your subconscious mind works, innermasculine.com/free ebook. Just put in your email, you get it. It says there's a waiting list. I'm fixing that. I got a web guy that's updating some stuff. Eagle Cloud, I hope you enjoyed the ebook. I hope you found it informative. There is, it's just truth bomb after truth bomb. I'm giving you guys the blueprint of the subconscious. Incredibly important stuff. Changed my life. I've had 6 of my clients, actually 7 of my 6 clients and 1 friend, depending on how I count, it could even be 8, took professional hypnotherapist training after doing a session with me. And my 1 friend didn't, but his wife did. That's Tim, and changed her life. Her testimonial's on here. So powerful stuff. Learn the fundamentals, man, and then take it to the next level. You can book a one-on-one session with me. I got at the end of the ebook, you see a way to book a free 30-minute consult with me. No strings attached. Of course, I'm going to pitch a session or whatever to you, 12-week course, whatever. But you can walk away. I'll help you however I can for 30 minutes. I don't hold anything back except for the time limit. I'll help you however I can. No charge to you. So that's at the end of the ebook, the link on how to schedule that. Now, with that said, without further ado, Tony Robbins is going to talk about the day his financial life changes. Actually, 2 different days. And what I want you guys to focus on is his attitude and his emotional state in scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. Tony Robbins is now worth $600 million. He grew up, he had 4 different dads. His mom had struggles with alcohol. He grew up poor, like broke. It's like they weren't going to, you'll see, he's going to talk about it. He's going to talk about a mindset shift, and you may not understand why this mindset shift leads to abundance. I'm going to spell it out for you after we watch this Tony Robbins clip. This is actually very interesting stuff as far as I'm concerned. So let's do the Tony Robbins clip. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips. Some are short. Tony Robbins one is about 6 minutes. But let's play this and dive down this rabbit hole, because it sure is. All right, here we go.
I've been working really hard as a young man, working on this business that I was in at the time. And I was working 18-hour days, and I was totally broke. Like trying to make sure I had enough gas to get from one location to the next. And I just finished at like 11:30 at night. I was driving down the 57 freeway in a place called Pomona, California. Not a great part of town at that stage, almost midnight. And I was emotional. I just kept thinking to myself, why is it I'm working so hard and I'm still not succeeding? And I was mad about it. And I hit this tipping point inside. I don't even know what triggered it, but I got really emotional. I literally pulled off the side of the freeway. And I've always had these written journals. I still have the journal to this day. And I wrote in giant letters, "The secret to living is giving." And then I started crying. And it was one of those beautiful moments. And it's just like I realized I was so focused on what I was getting. I was not focused on what I was giving enough. And so for about 6 months, that really emboldened me, and I did really well. And then I had some frustrations, some failures, and then I got mad because of people.
Now think, it emboldened him. Now he's doing well. What was his mindset before? What is it now that he's emboldened? We'll pick that apart. But just look at these mindset shifts and how it leads to abundance. We'll keep going.
I counted on it, not followed through, and I found myself totally broke again. Like nothing, like down to $20-something. not knowing how I'm going to feed myself. And I reached out to a friend I loaned $1,000 to, and he kept avoiding my calls. I was madder and madder. Like, I helped him and he was in need. He won't even give me my money back. And in the midst of all this anger, I had to figure out what to do. So I've always been a pragmatist. So when I was just 17, I was on my own. I used to
listen to his emotional state, angry, frustrated, etc. Tying that to scarcity. Now he's going to have a shift. He's actually going to make himself even more poor, but then have a mindset shift. And this is great. I'll pick it apart more, but just pay attention. Every time he's talking about his state of mind, his emotions, mad, frustrated, whatever, the secret to living is giving, and then he's emboldened. Listen to these emotional states, because there is a huge correspondence between these emotional states and then what happens in the outside world in regards to abundance or scarcity. Again, this guy broke 600 million now. He's telling you the turning points in his life where he then started having massive financial success.
To save the money, go to the smorgasbord on my bike, load up for the winter, eat everything I could, and so it would last me a day or two, and pay the least amount of money for the most food. So I thought, there's a smorgasbord, but I lived in Venice, California, and there's a place called Marina del Rey, just 3 miles away, and it's a very wealthy environment. And on the water, there's a place there called El Torito. It's a restaurant. It's still there, and it's very nice. It's on the water, boats going by, and they had an all-you-could-eat salad bar, taco bar. So I said, I'm going to go there. So I didn't spend the money on my car for the gas for the 3 miles I'll walk there. I'm not going to pay for parking. I was monitoring every dime. Total scarcity. And I got there and I loaded up, ate everything I could possibly eat. And while I was sitting there eating, a door opened and a very attractive woman came in. And I was waiting to see who her boyfriend or husband was going to be. And there wasn't a boyfriend or husband. There was a kid about this tall. And he was dressed in a suit, in a little vest. And he came in, he held the door open for his mom. He pulled out the chair and set her down. He was just such a gentleman. And then he stared in his mom's eyes, and he was just so, I don't know, just so loving, so there, so present. And it moved me. Even my selfish, little stupid place, I just moved by the love he had for his mom, the respect he had for his mom. I don't know what it was. But I went and paid the bill. And, I don't know, I had $17, $18, $19 left, whatever it was. I put it in my pocket, hang on to what little money I'd left. I think it was like $5.95 for all you can eat in those days or something like that. And I walked up to this little boy. And I said, hi. And I shook his hand. I said, what's your name? And I don't really remember his name. I think it was Ronnie. He said, I'm Ronnie, I think it was. And I said, Ronnie, I said, you are such a gentleman. I said, I saw you open the door for your lady. I saw you pull out the chair. I said, you are a class act. And he looked at me and goes, she's my mom. And I said, well, that's even better. I said, well, it's so cool you're taking her to lunch like this. And he goes, oh, well, I can't really take her to lunch. I don't have a job yet. I'm just 11, right? And I said, well, he's 11. And I said to him, I said, well, yes, you are. You are taking her to lunch. He said, what do you mean? And I just reached in my pocket. I had no plan. There was no strategy. I just grabbed my money in my pocket. I put it right down on the table in front of him, change and all, dollar bills and all. And he looked up, his eyes got really big. I said, you are taking her to lunch. And he said, I can't take that. I said, sure you can. He said, why? I said, because I'm bigger than you are, right? And his eyes got this big and he smiled really big. And I didn't even look at the lady. I just shook his hand and I walked out. And I didn't walk out. I flew out. I had no car. I must have looked like an idiot. I'm sure I was.
What's his emotional state now? Think about it. I'm going to break all this down in detail. I'm going to connect crazy amount of dots, but just pay attention to the emotional state. He lost the last bit of his money, but he's telling you this is the moment his financial mindset and life changed. Why? We're going to explore why.
Skipping it to some extent. I was just like purely euphoric at the moment when I should have been the most freaked out. I mean, I just gave away my last dollar. I don't know my next dollar. I don't have any money. I don't know where's my next meal going to come from. Zero fear. It was like I went home that night.
Zero fear, but his normal state in scarcity was fear, anger, all these negative emotions.
Laid out this plan how I was going to turn things around, but it wasn't going to turn around in a day or two. It might turn around a week or two. And I thought, well, people fast all the time. I'll go on a fast for a week. And I was positive about it. And I woke up the next day and I got my little normal snail mail on those days. And sure enough, there's this handwritten note. I open it up and there's your check inside. It's from the man that owed me $1,000 and not returned my phone calls for $1,000 plus some additional money, saying, I'm really sorry. And you were there for me, and I feel bad about it. Here it is. what was beautiful about the moment was, I cried, honestly. And then I sat there and I looked at this thing and I thought to myself, what does this mean? Why did this happen? And I don't know if it's true, but I chose to mean that money came because I did the right thing, because I didn't operate from scarcity, because a little soul was in front of me. My heart knew what was right, and I didn't hesitate. I just did what was right. And I can remember to this day so vividly, like it was yesterday, because
the camera zooms in because he's getting emotional.
that's the day I became a wealthy man. That's the day that scarcity ended in me. And that didn't mean I didn't have more ups and downs financially. I had plenty of those, but I never ever went back to that place of being angry at somebody else who had more, or blaming other people. Whether they got what they did fairly or unfairly, who the hell am I to say? What I want to do is focus instead on being a blessing in people's lives. That if I could find a way every day to do something to add more value for other people, then I wouldn't have to worry about anything. Just like you don't worry about taking a breath, whether oxygen is going to be there. You don't ask the question, you know it's going to be there. I figured if I left my life that way, where I spontaneously did what's right consistently, I wouldn't have to worry, and I haven't another day since. That doesn't mean I didn't have stressful
I don't have to worry
times, but I haven't gone back to that place of scarcity, making that psychological, emotional, if you want to call it spiritual shift that really changes the quality of life forever, which makes you wealthy the day you stop being scarce.
Okay, I'm going to show you guys. That is an awesome, awesome clip. Here's the thing. Here's the bottom line. The key to abundance, success in any endeavor, whether it's relationships, career, fitness, whatever, it is a state of mind. It is an internal state of mind tied to beliefs and tied to certain emotional states as well. And scarcity mindset, poverty mindset, depression, fear, frustration, anxiety, all of that, you could go, but for lack of a better word, you can call it the dark side. That leads to you staying small, struggling. And the seat of our emotions, where all of this comes from, is the subconscious mind. How things work, you'll see this in my ebook. Psychotherapists know this. Carl Jung, the father of modern psychoanalysis, he didn't have the best techniques for fixing the subconscious, but he knew. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The unconscious are the subconscious beliefs that form in your childhood. But what happens is, as we go through the world, our subconscious beliefs have emotions tied to them. When something in the outside world is a match for a subconscious belief in you, the feeling tied to that belief gets spiked. So what happens essentially is our emotions come from our subconscious mind. That is how instinct, intuition, emotion. That's how our subconscious influences us, communicates to us what it thinks, feels, etc. And these three things, intuition, instinct, emotion, dictate 95% of our behavior. Now, what happens is when you have these dark side emotions as opposed to these light side emotions, you're going into scarcity mode, you're going into survival mode. There's a threat, stay alive, and your brain starts, in fact, there's a physiological change. Like when you're under stress, when you're in fight or flight mode, your blood actually goes to your extremities so you can run faster, punch harder, whatever you need to do. But it actually takes blood and resources away from vital organs, from your brain, your higher functioning parts of your brain that are tied to, creativity and just higher brain function. It goes down to a primal level, fight or flight, stay alive. When you have all these negative emotions and negative beliefs, it's going to keep you more in that state. This is why people have anxiety, depression, stress, and not handling it well, procrastinating, self-sabotage. All of it's tied to this negative stuff. You got to have a mindset shift. When you do, like Tony Robbins did, there are certain behaviors you will then naturally engage in that will lead to abundance. The more you clean up your subconscious world and you shift from fear, doubt, frustration, anger, uncertainty, insecurity, feeling not good enough, all these negative things, you shift to the opposite. I'm going to show you later on some negative beliefs and some positive beliefs. When you make this shift, your behavior and also the way others treat you, because they pick up on this shift in you, we pick up on each other's vibes. This person's confident, that person's not confident, etc. And everything in between, you know. When you have this shift, it actually leads to consistent behaviors that then lead to abundance, success, happiness, etc. Now, I'm going to show you examples. I'm going to spell it out. I'm going to show, I have all these clips are 9-figure net worth individuals, you know, 100 million minimum net worth. And they're going to be breaking stuff down to you. And I'm going to connect it to what Tony Robbins just said about this mindset shift. So you're going to connect the dots between the behaviors that lead to success and the mindset that leads to those behaviors. So even though Tony Robbins gave the last bit of his wealth away and then was completely broke, he was now in a mindset that would lead to abundance. And when he had that mindset shift, he's now worth, instead of being broke now, he's now worth $600 million. If he did not have this big internal shift, he would be broke today. Bottom line. So just going through some of the comments. You're welcome for the free ebook. You know, welcome to the show, Mike. We got the regular group here. I don't know if that's Tony fired up or me, but either way, sounds good to me, Tim. Thank you. So we got more clips. I know this is kind of abstract stuff, but it leads to real results. I'm showing you some deep down foundational stuff. It's really just tied into, you know, self-love, self-belief, belief in your ability and value, you know, getting out toxic shame, all of that. But I'm going to tie it together. So a little more on the basis for success is a mindset. And Dan Pena is $1 trillion man. He's worth $500 million himself. He has mentored more entrepreneurs and has more successful, wealthy entrepreneurs than anyone else on the planet. He's called the $1 trillion man because the people he's mentored, his mentees, have a combined net worth of over $1 trillion. He's a $500 million. Listen, he knows what leads to abundance. He's going to tell you what the basis of all abundance is right now. I'm going to tie in all these threads together. All right, Tim Costello says, I'm fired up, and Tony Robbins. Yeah, 100%. Thanks, Tim. Tim, my good friend. See ya hopefully Saturday on the show. He's on most Saturday shows. All right, so Dan Pena here. I'm going to show you a string of stuff. I'm going to connect these together. Don't worry.
Their nappies, they're all happy, aren't they? Giggle, giggle, yeah, yeah, right? Has anybody tell me? 3 years old. Okay, now 7 years old, same thing. They're all happy. Then what happens? By the way, self-esteem is built the first 7 years of life.
Self-esteem built the 7 years of life when most of your subconscious programs are put in. He's talking about subconscious programs developing. He's wrong on one thing here. I'll point it out, but he's right on this.
You either have it or you don't.
He's wrong on that, but we'll keep going. That's conventional wisdom because they don't know what we know. He's wrong on that. But according to conventional wisdom, he's right.
Self-esteem is the basis of all high performance.
Did you hear that? Self-esteem is the basis of all high performance. You get it by 7 years old. According to him, you either have it or you don't. He's talking about subconscious beliefs about your identity, about yourself forming as a child. What he doesn't know is that if you don't get it from your childhood, we can give it to you. I gave it to myself. Tim, who's on the show right now, EC Smooth, who did a session with me, he's going to do a video interview in the near future. They've seen this firsthand. They've experienced it. Watch my interviews of clients, client testimonials and interviews. I got 18 of them up. There's more coming. I literally, I've done this hundreds of times. I took people who doubted their ability and value, who had low self-esteem, and we flipped the script, and now they're opposite, and then they take off. I got a testimony I'll read a little later. That is, yeah, I know, if I read a testimony, I could have made it up. That's why I do so many video testimonials. But what he wrote is actually very instructive. It's part of the lesson today. So anyways, we'll keep going. This is good stuff. He just told you the core. Self-esteem is a basis of all high performance. I'm giving you guys the foundation. And you know what? You read all these self-help books, do this, do that, do the other. If you don't have this foundation in, you're going to struggle. That's the truth. If you do have the foundation in, this is what it's like. Let's say you're in an ocean and you have islands around you. There's an island of financial success. There's an island of getting the relationship, the romantic relationship, or the family you want. There's an island of health and fitness. There's an island of internal well-being. If you have bad subconscious programs, bad core identity, you can swim to any of these consciously. Your conscious mind is deciding to swim to these different islands. But if you have a bad foundation, internal subconscious belief system, you are wearing cement shoes. You are wearing cement shoes trying to swim to these islands. It's all you can do just to wade water and keep from drowning. And that is literally what many people do in life. They're just keeping their head above water. You have high self-esteem as the basis for all high performance, as Dan Pena put it. Now you're in a boat with a motor, and you can go to those islands. You have the power. I used a phrase in one of my shows, and I've kind of said this between me and others for a while, because we talk about the red pill. The red pill gives you true knowledge, facts, and then you decide what to do with the facts. And honestly, a lot of people who are red pill actually have bad information, but the true red pill has good information. It's the facts that society doesn't want you to know. There's a bunch of lies society tells us. Red pill is, hey, here's the actual truth. This is the power pill. This gives you the power to take advantage of the truth, to get what you want and get the life you want to have and feel a certain way about yourself. I mean, if you're successful and miserable, kind of sucks. How good is that success if you're miserable all the time? I'd rather be making $60,000 a year happy than millions of dollars a year miserable. I mean, wouldn't you? But anyways, moving on. Yeah, we're giving you the power pill. We give you the power when you get this foundation right. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. End of story. That's what Dan Pena's saying.
You either feel good about yourself. Nobody loves me more than I love myself.
This is all rock solid truth. He's going to tell you.
You can't be a good human being unless you love yourself. Love yourself first, then you love everybody else. I can just tell by looking at the audience, we have a lot of save the world.
Tony Robbins loving that kid, that was first an act of self-love.
Kids, great, absolutely.
And he felt good about himself when he did that. It's all tied together. The kid felt good, he felt good. That's how it works.
Absolutely fucking terrific. But Bill Gates didn't start saving the world till he made $850 billion. None of those guys, Warren Buffett, you name them, didn't give a shit about the world until they made $852 billion. So I tell the
the only person
I disagree with him here. I don't know what just happened. I disagree with him here. Martin
Political
Luther King
correct
Jr. was not a billionaire. You don't need to be a billionaire to change the world, but it certainly helps. There's certainly some things you can do. So I can't disagree with them on that. Let's see where we were here. Oh, man, this is annoying. Stop it. All right, here we go.
Take the $852 billion, then save the fucking world. You hang around with cripples, you learn how to limp.
Listen to that flannel phrase. And that's part of poverty mindset, by the way, scarcity mindset. If you're with other people who have poverty mindset, it's going to reinforce yours. That's why you need That's why you need to get a tribe who's positive, who's moving forward, working on themselves, improving, up-leveling, encouraging, not criticizing, encouraging and supporting you. And you adopt that mindset and you go up with them too. You help them up, they help you up. You hang with cripples, you learn how to limp. 100%. Sounds harsh, but it's 100% true. Okay, so here's the thing. Here is a really core principle I teach over and over and over again. Maybe Tony saw his inner child in that little boy. Very possibly. Very possibly. Yeah. P-Dubs, welcome to the show. P-Dubs, red pill up on all my videos. And I like as many of his comments as I can. A very loyal listener. Thank you. Okay, so here's this basic concept. Our brain is designed for survival, and our brain motivates us towards pleasure, strong motivation. But stronger motivation is avoid pain. If there's a threat, it's either fight or flight. You're angry, someone punched you in the face, you fight back. Or more often, flight. And this includes emotional pain too. This is why people procrastinate. This is why people have anxiety. This is why people self-sabotage. This is why people stay small. They don't take risks. They play it safe. And if you play it safe, you can never get ahead and get what you really want. End of story. When you have all these negative emotions, frustration, poverty, might look at how little I have, look at how I'm struggling. That puts you in survival mode, and you cannot thrive in a survival mode. That is why this spirit of, Tony Robbins, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm poor, where am I going to get my next meal? How am I going to make more money? Put you in survival mode, and you're just focused on the bare essentials, and you're focused on avoiding threats. Survival mode is first and foremost, there are threats I need to avoid. And literally, the higher parts of your brain literally shut down. You go into survival mode, and you literally lose finer motor functions. When you're in high stress survival situations, your ability to do complicated tasks, it just all goes out the window. It goes down to the basics, fight or flight. And when you have stress, when you have all these negative emotions, it puts you there and makes you want to stay small and avoid threats, avoid pain. That is the opposite. And that leads to behavior that is the opposite of what is necessary to thrive in this world, to have abundance. Now, our brain was optimized for hunter-gatherer tribes. That's where most of, chronologically speaking, the overwhelming majority of humanity has been in hunter-gatherer tribes. It is not optimized for our world now. It can be, because our brain has a lot of elasticity. If you know how to do it, you can reprogram your subconscious and optimize it for today's world. And I'm going to show you people, Tom Bilyeu, $400 million net worth. I'm going to show you his mindset. Pay attention to, I played this clip before, but it's very instructive to what we're talking about today. Okay, so survival mode, all negative emotion, it leads to fear, avoiding threats. People procrastinate because there's potential pain tied to the task. They either feel bad if they don't do, I didn't do this, I'm lazy, I'm a loser. That emotional pain is tied to survival. It's tied to not going outside the will of the tribe, because if you go outside you go against the will of the tribe, they kick you out. Now you're on your own. Now you can't survive. And that's why we have emotional pain. Shame, toxic shame, guilt, anxiety is don't do that. The tribe will disapprove, or you'll lose standing within the tribe if you fail. And this is based on subconscious programs that develop within us and give us a belief system. The world is dangerous. You're not good enough. If you fail, the tribe will direct. These are all belief systems that develop in childhood. And our instinct, which is the fight or flight mode, will interact with that to keep you small and keep you from getting ahead. So when you are in the Tony Robbins, after he gave the money to the kid, and now he's like, I had no fear. Notice he said 0 fear. I should have been scared because I had hardly any money. Really what it was is he just felt love for the kid. And love is very, very powerful. Love is what makes like these soldiers charge into a hail of bullets to retrieve their wounded buddy and save his life while risking their own. And in our world, overcoming fear and moving forward is essential to an abundance lifestyle, or an abundance in reality, having abundance, because in our world, there is endless opportunity in our world. But if you are in all these negative emotions, put you into survival mode, put you into scarcity mindset, make you avoid threats, you cannot take advantage of these opportunities. You need to have that shift that Tony Robbins had. And if you do, all of a sudden, all these opportunities are available to you. You don't have fear. You keep moving forward. You overcome failure until you get enough skill to have massive success. So I'm going to show you that. Now listen to this guy, Tom Bilyeu. I'm going to play this clip. You guys probably seen this before, but listen to how he feels about failing, falling down, messing up, taking risks, and it doesn't pan out, and he just made a fool of himself. How does he feel about it? Listen to this. This is great.
Okay. Entrepreneurship was very good to me. It changed my
life. By the way, he used to be a couch potato. He used to have a ton of fear, didn't feel good about himself. So while his wife went to work, he stayed on the couch watching TV all day. He had a big internal shift, big subconscious internal shift. Now, this is how he feels about trying and failing. Listen to the benefit he's focused on, and how does he feel about all the downside.
Life, it made me fantastically
of failing,
wealthy. And now I'm looking around going, hey, there's nothing that special about me. The thing that made me successful is I'm a relentless learner. So I'm just unafraid to embarrass myself, to fall down, to look stupid. And because of that, while other people are laughing at me, I'm laughing on the inside because I'm like, motherfucker, on a long enough timeline, I'm going to win because I'll learn and I'll figure this stuff out. So now,
okay, so our mind evolved for survival, and part of survival is fitting within the tribe, not going against the will of the tribe. But here he is, his tribe mates are laughing at him. How does he feel? He's like, I'm laughing. He's like, I don't care. And he doesn't care if he looks stupid. He has 0 fear. Why? Because he is focused on what? He's focused on a benefit. His subconscious belief is, even if I fail, fall down, look stupid, and people laugh at me, I'm learning, I'm getting better, and therefore I win in the long run. This is abundance mindset. When you focus, when you get your subconscious programs aligned so that, again, we pursue pleasure, that's a drive, a strong drive our brain has, but stronger drive is avoid pain. It is a stronger drive to avoid pain because pain can lead to death. And if you die, all your opportunities, pursue pleasure are gone. So that's why it's stronger. When you have bad subconscious programs that put you in survival mode, scarcity mode, fight or flight mode, all of that, you're focused on avoiding pain. You cannot be pursuing pleasure. Pursuing pleasure is tied to, I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow, I'm going to take risks, I'm going to keep going. And you need to do that to succeed in today's modern world. He's saying, this is the one thing that sets me apart. That I take risks and I don't care if people laugh at me or if I mess up, because I'm going to learn until I get good enough to get whatever I want. This is foundational to the abundance mindset. I'm going to have another woman by age 29, $100 million net worth. Took her like somewhere between 5 and 7 years to go from $15,000 in the bank account to $100 million net worth with her husband, Leila Hormozi. She's going to outline something that ties in very closely to what Tom says here. And this is all tied to abundance mindset, pursuing it. You have a mindset of avoiding pain, you're anxious, you're procrastinating. Or do you have a mindset of pursuing pleasure? I'm going to pursue my dreams and I don't care about all the little mistakes in between. I don't care about the failures and mess ups. I'm just going to pursue my dream until I get there. That is greatness. This is what great people do, is they keep going. They don't care about the pain. They push through it. They don't even feel it, because sometimes they do, but a lot of times they don't, because it's not in their mindset. He doesn't care. He doesn't feel emotional pain when people laugh at him, because of what is in his subconscious. And this is the same shift Tony Robbins had. It's it's kind of, they each have their own nuance. But Tony Robbins said, I had no fear when I went into this state of giving, loving, feeling good, offering value to the world. I had no more fear. Now he's worth $600 million. That shift it's the same shift Tom had. Tom used to be a couch potato, full of insecurity, full of doubt, worth $400 million now. No fear, moving forward. This is huge. This is the number one thing I put in people when we do sessions. We get this down in your core and people just take off. It's so great. That's why I quit my, used to make 190 grand a year approximately. It go up and down. That old job's gone. I was my own boss. I didn't have anyone to report to other than my clients. I could live anywhere in the world, working out of home, gone, because I believe in this. And these concepts have changed my life. I'm not a 100 millionaire, but we'll see. I'm not done living yet. Honestly, I don't care to be a 100 millionaire, but maybe it'll happen as I try to change the world. Who knows? All right, so we're going to show you Leila Hormozi now. Again, some of these things you guys have seen before, some you haven't if you've been watching the show, but there's a particular point to today's lesson. So I'm going to show it, it's relevant to today. So there's definitely some new stuff here I've been showing you too. Okay. So here's the thing. If you're in fear mode, scarcity mode, flight or fight, survival, you can't do what Dan Pena. Here's another Dan Pena clip. I'm going to do Dan Pena, then Leila Hormozi. This is just a real short one. You cannot do this if you're in fear survival mode, what Dan Pena is saying. And this is, he's telling you being afraid, survival mode is going to make you poor. Here we go. Now he talks about lower IQ, but listen to what he's really saying here.
IQ, the more money they make.
Explain that to people.
Okay.
They don't get that.
Okay. So you're an engineer. By definition, engineers are analytical. Quite simply, if you make a mistake, normally, if you're building a bridge, you're building a rocket ship or whatever, a lot of people are going to die. It's not you. So you're trained to be safe.
They train us to be risk averse.
Correct. Overanalyze it.
Which means you don't have to pull the trigger.
Correct.
You can just analyze.
Being risk adverse, avoiding pain. Some people just analyze and never do anything. We'll talk about this.
All day.
So you overanalyze, you study things, you think of all the possible permutations, all the possibilities of what can go wrong. And if you do that enough, you'll come up with enough reasons not to do it at all. Because taking action isn't doing a spreadsheet. Taking action isn't listening to a podcast. Taking action is not reading a book. Okay. Taking action is actually taking action.
Why don't people take action? What Dan is saying here is you'll make more money if you take action. And the people that just analyze and never take action, or only take action after a long time of analysis, aren't making as much money because they're not taking action. Well, if you are based in fear, you're not going to take action. You're going to procrastinate. You're going to play it safe and not take risks. And you end up, that is the path of mediocrity. And you have a mediocre income, mediocre wealth. He's saying if you're the type of person who says, screw all that, I'm going to do it, it makes you richer.
You're an engineer, an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, a scientist. You have learned to study and to take action in a certain fact pattern. Okay. And the lower the IQ, the more money they make.
Explain that.
So he says, listen, if you only take action when you're sure you won't fail, you make less money. And that's people, some people have to do it. Engineers, okay, you got to do it. But if you really want true abundance, you got to have a different mindset. You got to have a mindset of just doing it, no fear, pushing forward, learning in the process. That's exactly what Bilyeu said. I don't care if I fall down, look stupid. I'm going to learn. I'm going to get better, and then I win in the long run. You cannot have that in scarcity. You cannot do that in scarcity mindset. Leila Hormozi is going to spell it out to an even greater extent in more detail. Here we go. And then I'm going to show you specific beliefs that facilitate the abundance mindset and specific beliefs that don't. I know there's overlap between what I'm talking here and what I've talked about in the past, but honestly, if you look at the foundation of what leads to so many good things and what leads to so many bad things, the foundation is pretty much, there's this common thread running through everything. So it just is what it is. But this is so important. You guys need to hear it again anyway. So, I mean, I haven't talked about abundance mindset like this before. I'm giving you some new stuff, but you are going to see it relate to other stuff I've talked about. It's all interconnected. That's just how it is. So Leila's going to break it down. What fear does and why you can't succeed. When you are in this poverty mindset, all these negative emotions lead your brain to, I need to avoid pain, and you can't succeed. This is why.
Realize that it gets to, and this is what a lot of entrepreneurs get to, is you productively procrastinate, which many would say this is doing small tasks. I think it's just not doing the hard tasks and making the hard decision.
That I mentioned she is worth $100 million by age 29. Like 2 years later, they're now bringing in $200 million a year with their companies at
right.
age 31.
Right. And so what it means you do is you don't ever try. Okay. And so what I mean by never trying is you will do things that you have proven to yourself you can already do. Right. You stop attempting to do new things because you might have failed so many times because you were in attack mode that you kind of just back off and think like, maybe I just shouldn't be trying. Right. Which is never the right way to look at it. Because you never try, you never risk failure. Right. And so you never have that keep you up all night feeling like crap. You know, I just messed this up in front of everybody feeling. Because you never risk that, you also never fail. Right. Which is good. We're not failing. I feel safe. I feel secure. Like I don't have to question my ego. Like nothing's threatening me. Right. And then because of that, you never let yourself down, right? Except the big obvious one of all of this is that if you do this, you also never succeed. And that is what I realized I was doing.
Survival mode is stay safe. You stay safe, you productively procrastinate, you never succeed, you live a mediocre life instead. Boom, right there. The mindset, Tony's former mindset versus his shift. Same thing with Tom Bilyeu. Tom Bilyeu's mindset as a couch potato versus his mindset now. This is couch potato mindset. This is Tony Robbins when he was in fear. You cannot get ahead. You're going to live a mediocre life. We'll keep going. Mindset is a foundation to these behaviors. Tom Pena said it himself. High self-esteem is the basis of all high performance. No amount of self-help books will help you guys if you don't have your inner world right. And no one is talking about this in a way and actually giving you resources to actually change your core. That's what makes this channel special. We do that. No one else has these techniques to change your deep down belief system so you can have true abundance.
And so what I was actually doing was that in the short term, I was keeping myself safe and not failing in the micro, right? But in the macro picture, I was never succeeding. So it's like you're successful in keeping yourself safe and you're also successful in keeping yourself miserable, right? And so that is when I realized that I really need to trade my productive procrastination for what I want to call productive failure. So what does that look like, right? What's productive failure look like? And how do you know if you're doing it or not doing it? Okay, productive failure means you're going to try. So it's like you see something that needs to get done in the business. You see something that you would like to do. You see something that you aspire to. You try. Because you try, you do risk failure, right? And then I would say about 50% of the time, you are going to fail, right? The other 50% of the time, you just learn, right? And the thing is that you learn when you fail and you learn when you succeed.
All right, what did Tom Bilyeu say? He doesn't care. He's not afraid to fail. So he takes risks of failing, and oftentimes he does fail, but he learns. What Tom Bilyeu, worth $400 million, is saying the same thing she's saying. She's just breaking it down in greater detail. And she calls failure productive. How many of you think failure is productive? How many of us think when I fail, it means I'm a loser, so I can't fail? I shouldn't fail. Failure is bad. No. these 9-figure net worth individuals say this is the path you need to take to have massive success. But if you're in survival mode, you do not have a mindset that will let you take this task, because you're going to be terribly afraid of failing, because failure in survival mode, your brain is thinking failure can lead to death, whether you realize it or not. That's why your brain is acting the way it acts, gives you this anxiety, makes you procrastinate. He's like, no, you're going to learn, tweak, try again, get better until you have massive success. The reason Leila's worth all this money, Tom Bilyeu, Dan Pena, is they walk this path. They don't care what others think, just like Tom Bilyeu said, and they get better each time until they have big success. Other people are not willing to walk this path like they do. That's why they're successful and other people are not.
And so what that means is that once you try and you fail, you tweak and you try again. And so this is what I would consider most people aren't doing if they're feeling like they're really burnt out. They're feeling like the wheels are spinning, but you're not getting anywhere. Is you're probably avoiding trying the things that are most likely to threaten your ego, because you're most likely to fail at them. So anytime you're starting something new, anytime you as a CEO and entrepreneur need to level up, you have to try doing something that you've never done before. And you're probably going to look like an idiot. I look like an idiot when I try most things I've never done. It's like, would it be reasonable that I would look like an expert when I've never done something before just because I'm a CEO or an entrepreneur? No, like you're just as new as somebody who's not a CEO or entrepreneur trying something, right? It doesn't mean anything.
She never said she felt like an idiot. She just says she looks like one. Same thing with Tom Bilyeu. Doesn't matter. All right, so I'm going to show you guys one last thing. These emotions that Tony Robbins was talking about, shifting from painful emotions to pleasurable emotions, shifting to love, shifting to self-belief, shifting. I could show the Arnold Schwarzenegger, like Arnold next to the skinny guy. I show that one a lot. And Arnold's like, I'm chasing my dream. And the skinny guy is like, why did you become big? To stop being bullied? Is that why you got strong? Because the skinny guy is thinking about avoiding pain, and that's why he stays small and skinny, and he's not kicking ass like Arnold. Arnold's like, no, I'm chasing pleasure. I'm chasing my dream. Arnold's full of belief in his ability, in his value. Then Arnold, in an act of love, compliments the guy and tells the guy not to put himself down, because the skinny guy keeps putting himself down. When you love yourself, it actually leads you to love others. It is part of abundance mindset. How does gratitude feel? Gratitude is being grateful for what you have. And if you're grateful for what you have, your brain starts linking pleasure to the things you have, and our brain pursues pleasure. Oh, things are good. I have good feelings about the things I have. You know what? I want to get more. This is literally, I'm giving you how our brain operates on a deep down fundamental level. No one talks about it like this. Well, Marissa Peer, some of my influences, but I'm really spelling it out to a level I don't think she ever has. Foundational stuff. Until you get this stuff down, the self-help books are going to have very limited help. And people read self-help book after self-help book, and they don't get any better because their foundation is still screwed up. They're still in those cement shoes in the ocean trying to swim to the island of success. Put yourself in a motorboat. You can get there a lot quicker, trust me. So let me show you some of these foundational beliefs. Let's see here. I'm going to go to this. All right. So what we put in your core, we can literally put these beliefs deep down in your core. The negative ones keep you small, keep you in scarcity, keep you mediocre, have you playing it safe to avoid pain. I'm not good enough. I'm worthless. You're going to do everything you can to avoid feeling worthless. What happens as adults with these subconscious beliefs, we go through the world. Anytime there's anything in the outside world that is a match for the belief in us, it spikes a feeling tied to that belief. If the feelings are painful, your brain wants to avoid that pain, emotional pain getting spiked, so you avoid doing things that could lead to that being spiked. I'm not good enough. I'm worthless. Well, if you have a task and you fail at it, then your subconscious is like, see, it's true. You failed. You are not good enough. You are worthless. And that terrible feeling is spiked. How many of you have this? You fail at something, you're embarrassed in front of others, and you feel terrible. That's because you have a subconscious belief with pain tied to it that got triggered. And then you notice, oh, why do I procrastinate? Why do I have social anxiety? Well, because your brain's trying to get you to avoid triggering painful programs that lead to pain. Our brain pursues pleasure, but if there's pain there, the desire to avoid pain is going to override that desire to pursue pleasure, put us in survival mode. Get that out. Get these painful programs out, and then you're not worried. Tom Bilyeu, his belief is, I don't care if I get laughed at because I'm learning and I'm going to win in the long run. There is no pain tied to his subconscious belief system, so he doesn't care if he messes up. And like Leila, they're like, hey, we're learning. It's cool. They don't have pain tied to failure because they have good subconscious beliefs. So get rid of this. I'm not good enough. I'm worthless. That is tied to pain. Puts you in survival mode. Get that out. Put in, I don't need to do or say anything to have massive value. I just have it. It puts you in such a strong position because if you feel that deep down, then you don't need to approach the attractive girl and get her phone number in order to be good enough. And if there's no pain, you know, I have guys come to me and they say, I'm afraid to approach these attractive girls. And I ask them, how do you feel when you see an attractive girl? You say you should approach her and you don't. And they say, oh, I feel like I'm a coward. I'm a loser. I'm not enough of a man. That's pain. If your brain connects pain to an event, it gives you anxiety to get you to avoid it. Even if avoiding it leads to the pain. This is what fight or flight is cockroach brain, lizard brain. I've heard a neuroscientist call this cockroach brain. It's the oldest part of our brain. All it sees is a threat and makes us flee. So even the pain tied to not doing something will make you not do it. But if you say, hey, I have massive value even if I don't do it, there's no pain there, which means there's no resistance to doing it. Now your brain is free to pursue pleasure and go after what you want. And we all have desires. If our brain is not worried about avoiding pain, it's going to lead us to pursue the pleasure. And then we're like Tom Bilyeu kicking ass. We're like Tony Robbins kicking ass. And when Tony Robbins has this internal shift to pursuing pleasure and screw the pain, I'm not even feeling it. I'm going to give the last of my money to this kid out of love. He shifted to pursue pleasure mode. By pleasure, we use that in an extremely broad sense. You hug a child, that pleasure. You give money to a child so he can buy his mom dinner. How good did that make Tony Robbins feel? That's pleasure. Fulfillment is included in pleasure. All the love, fulfillment, self-belief, all of this, feeling good for what you accomplished and did. It's all pleasure. If you don't have the pain making you not pursue pleasure, blocking you from pursuing it, you're going to pursue pleasure, which leads to an abundant life. If others reject me, it means I'm a loser. There's pain tied to that because then you have all this anxiety about doing or saying the wrong thing. Maybe you act fake. You act fake so others won't reject you because you feel deep down the real you can't be accepted. You're not living an authentic life. You're staying small so you don't get rejected, because if you get rejected, you feel like a loser and that feels terrible. That is a subconscious belief. Get that out of you. Put that in. If others don't see my value, they just cannot see it. Their blindness is their problem. I don't give an F. That's Tom Bilyeu right there. Tom Bilyeu has this belief system in him, and that's why it's a big part of why he is worth $400 million. If I fail, it means I'm a failure. It's tied to I'm not good enough. I'm worthless. We put this in your core. Those who succeed the most first fail the most because they try the most challenging things. This is Thomas Edison. Tried 1,000 times to invent the light bulb, failed 1,000 times. But he kept going when everyone else gave up, and he finally found the solution. He finally had massive success, and that's why we remember him and not everyone else who never tried or who gave up before succeeding, unlike Thomas Edison, who tried 1,000 times, then invented the light bulb. Those who succeed the most first fail the most because they try the most challenging things. That's a true statement. Thomas Edison, right there. The more you fail, the more you learn and grow. Tom Bilyeu. Leila Hormozi, 9-figure net worth people. The more you fail, the more you learn and grow until you have enough skill to succeed. These are true statements, and there's no pain tied to them. If I fail, it means I'm a failure. That subconscious belief, if you then fail, you feel terrible. And so your brain gives you anxiety because your brain doesn't want you to feel the pain. And then you stay small. I'm powerless. I'm helpless. Well, if you're powerless and helpless, why take risks? Why try and kick ass in life? You won't succeed. You're powerless and helpless. So why even try, right? Positive subconscious counterpart. I can practice, learn, and grow and develop the skills to get what I want. Oh, cool. So all this cool stuff I want in life, I can get. I've gotten a lot of it. Honestly, I don't care. Like I said, I don't care to be like super, super wealthy, but my income's top 4 or 5% on average. On a good year, top 3%. You know, I had my Porsche 911 Turbo. Now I'm living my dream life in Mexico City. I'm in my luxury apartment, but it starts with inner world stuff, you know, and it starts with great beliefs. I mean, I am living my best life. Just, I got friends, I got everything. My life is great. I'm changing the world. I'm in a super fulfilling career. You know, love life I want, all of it. It's all great. I used to be the opposite. I used to have massive manic depression. I used to hate myself. I used to have anxiety all the time. I rarely have anxiety now. If I do, there's probably a good reason for it. I used to have depression all the time. I almost never feel depressed or lonely. I just feel good, and I'm succeeding and kicking ass, and it's great. You know, so I am, you know, Tom Bilyeu being a couch potato. Well, you know, Tony Robbins came from a dysfunctional home and just had all these negative emotions. That was me too. We, you know, had this big internal shift. I have techniques that other people can have these big internal shifts do. I do it for them all the time. Success rate, somewhere around 95%, give or take. I'm not saying I'm going to cure everything in one session, but substantial permanent benefit in one session, noticeable benefit. 95% of the time we could do that. We're talking reprogramming your subconscious core. This stuff works. We get this bad stuff out, put good in, so you can have the abundance mindset deep down at your core that all these guys are talking about. Negative. I have to put others' needs first. Why is that negative? Because here's the thing. No one can take care of you as well as you can. Now, I'd say the one exception is maybe your kids, but even that, listen, if you neglect your own needs, you are now disempowered and you're not in a position to help others as much. So that's one reason why you got to put yourself first, to build your power so that in the long run you can help others more. That's what Dan Pena was talking about. He's like, listen, you know, make $850 gajillion first and then save the world, because you have a lot more power to do it then. So good belief. I'm my own mental point of origin. If you don't take care of yourself, no one else will. No one else can. You are better equipped to take care of yourself than anyone else needs, because you're more familiar with yourself than anyone else is. But other than maybe when you're a child, if you have really good parents, no one else is going to put your needs first. That's just how the world is. And no one can. You know, everyone's going to let you down, but you can choose to never let yourself down. And because you matter, because you're important, someone should put you first, and you're the man for the job. If you do that, you make yourself stronger and more successful, and you put yourself in a greater position of power to then help others. This doesn't mean you don't help others. It means you take care of yourself. And if you want to help others, you're now more powerful and able to help others because you grew your power by taking care of yourself. Bad subconscious program, I'll always be poor, poverty mindset. Get that out. That puts you in survival. If you're poor, you're in survival mode. Oh, I got to save every penny. You're focused on saving every penny instead of going out and making a lot of money. You can't take risks. If you take risks, you might lose all your money. So you never get ahead. Replace that. Money's everywhere. I only need to develop useful skills, and then it's your mine in abundance. That's a 100% true statement. You're different. You don't fit in. Well, if you can't fit in with others, that's really going to hurt your chance for abundance, because we're social creatures. And honestly, if you find good, positive, successful people, they can help you succeed. Collaborative efforts lead to more overall success for everyone. So, good belief. Your unique traits are the best part of you. Notice the positive stuff all has positive emotions, and negative stuff all has negative emotions attached to it. That is the difference between poverty, scarcity, mediocrity, suffering, and abundance, kicking ass. And I hope that I have demonstrated that in spades today. I've showed you the best trainer of wealthy entrepreneurs in history saying self-esteem is the basis of all high performance. This is exactly what we're talking about. You have to have these positive subconscious beliefs in order to, and he says, you get it by age 11. You either have positive self-esteem, you have it, or you don't. That's the one area where he's wrong. You can get it. We can put it in you. We can get the bad out, put the good in. $500 million net worth guy says self-esteem, it's developed by age 7. You have it or you don't. He's wrong on that, but he's true that if you don't have these good subconscious beliefs in you where you believe in your ability and your intrinsic value, your intrinsic worth, if you don't have it, you're going to struggle to succeed your whole life. You can be like a Kurt Cobain, a Marilyn Monroe, and you can become very successful, but best case scenarios become successful and you're an absolutely tortured soul. Robin Williams, Chris Farley, there's just so many of these people, especially in Hollywood. Hollywood attracts wounded people who think that if they become famous and rich, then everyone loves them, then they'll feel good enough, and it doesn't work. And then you become a Kurt Cobain, Robin Williams, etc., self-deleting, etc. And not everyone's going to do that, but in the worst case scenario, that's where it can lead. So that's the show for today. Abundance starts with an internal emotional state, a positive state. It starts with your subconscious. Dan Pena got everything right, except he says you can't change it. He says you get it by age 7 when it's put in your subconscious. You're not. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I'm doing it all day, every day. So that is our show. You can get this stuff in you. When you do, you now have the basis for high performance success for you going out and getting what you want. Everyone has this supercomputer, our subconscious mind. Neuroscience has been measured. This is fact. It processes 1,000 times more per second than our conscious mind. It is our supercomputer. Most people's supercomputer has viruses in it holding them back. Get those viruses out. And now this supercomputer that everyone has is pulling you forward, pushing you forward, getting you to just kick ass, succeed, plow through all the failures, learn each time. Not carrying, other people dragging you down. You don't care. You just keep moving forward. And then you get what you want. Get your internal world right. And then you are going to learn something that many of you don't know yet, but are in the process of learning. A very important truth. That truth is you have more power than you know. That's our show. Thank you.